It is Wired Wednesday, as we mentioned moments ago. And on this Wired Wednesday, we're talking about the redistricting effort that's underway to redraw congressional lines in Texas and now possibly in California as well. GV Wire News Director Bill McEwen joins us live from the GV Wire studios to talk about just how we got here. Good morning, Bill. We are trying this again.
Good morning, Liz. Hope you're having a great one.
Okay, I'm not able to hear his audio. Okay, but if you don't mind just going in, if you can talk to us a bit, just remind our viewers how this whole redistricting effort got started.
Well, Liz, it started when President Trump, he wants to retain Republican control of the House. And he was looking at how early polling results about the 2026 midterms were going. And he saw Democrats looked like they would take back the House. So he went to Governor Greg Abbott of Texas and said, why don't you redraw your maps for the congressional districts, shift them around so that, we could pick up 4 or 5 Republican seats. People call this gerrymandering. It's an old term. I don't know if young voters recognize the term. The big thing here is traditionally maps are redrawn, as you know, Liz, every 10 years after the census. So we've just kind of had new maps, and in Texas, they're going full speed ahead on redrawing them again, and hopefully for the Republicans, from the Republican perspective, picking up a few seats. Gavin Newsom responded to that by saying, well, if Texas does it, we're going to do it too. But there's a big difference, Liz. In California, we have an independent redistricting commission. Voters fought hard to get this because they were tired of politicians picking their own voters in California. And so Newsom had to come up with a way kind of to get around it. What he's proposing now is that at the end of November of this year, we would go to the polls in a special election and vote on a map that they put out to the voters. The other thing that's happening is blue states are lining up to do similar things. So are other red states. So really bad for democracy. But if you're a Democrat and the Republicans are going to do it, if you're a Democrat, you probably have to go along with it.
Bill, this isn't so cut and dry, as you mentioned here in California, because, again, this is something that once lawmakers return from the recess, they have to act very quickly if this is going to be put before voters.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not clear that Newsom will even be able to pull this off. For example, there's one person who's been very big in California about having honest, good government. He has pledged to put up $10–20 million in an opposition campaign. And then former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger came out and said, you don't fix democracy with bad democracy. He said he would oppose it. And then, of course, there's all kinds of lawyers looking at this and plotting legal challenges. So in Texas, it might not be good for democracy, but legally, the lawmakers there can do it because they're in charge of redrawing the maps. It's much different in California.
Bill, we've got about 30 seconds left here, but I do want to ask you, though, if this winds up going through and being put before voters, how could this affect the congressional makeup here in the central San Joaquin Valley? Because as we know, for example, Congressman Valadeo's seat, that has been a seat that has been a very tight race consistently. What could that mean for that seat in particular, as well as others here in this area?
So what could happen for voters like you and me, Liz, we could find ourselves in a new district. We could find candidates that we're really not that familiar with. And in regards to the Valley's clout, when they redo these districts, is the Valley going to have the same number of seats, or will they lose one? Chances are we would retain the number, maybe even gain one, because Valley population is growing. But there are a lot of barriers to voting already, and now you're throwing new candidates, new district numbers out there. It doesn't lend itself to good democracy, and it doesn't lend itself to a large number of people turning out.
Where do voters buckle up? It's going to be an interesting ride over the next couple of months. All right, Bill McHugh with GV Wire, thank you so much for joining us this Wired Wednesday. Great day. We'll be right back.